Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum brothers and sisters. Alhamdulillah, this morning I continue to make this video on the topic of religion and belief, because I always think it is important for me to do. It gives benefit to me, and I always think of doing it every day, every morning, coming here, or maybe soon I'll be doing it. This video on the beach, when my tricycle that I order arrive, then I can just ride to the beach and do this video on the beach, or maybe alternatively I do the video here and also I do it on the beach or somewhere else other than the beach and here. So changing location will be interesting for me once I have my tricycle arrive. When I had my e-bike before, I used to do it on the beach, but now my e-bike no longer functioning, and to replace that I order a tricycle which will soon be arriving. Okay, so why it is important? Because the topic I do is on religion and belief. The idea is thinking of Creator, our Creator. Because when we are created, there's also revelation from our Creator, things that we must do and must not do and must believe. He says must, meaning that when it is must, there is punishment for not doing or not believing. So I do this talk, this video is to remind me, not reminding me once a month, not reminding me once a week, but to remind me every day, because one of the ordained sent to us is that we have to do 5 times salat every day. Without fail, in the morning, midday, evening time, during sunset, then night time. So 5 times a day of worshipping. Some people just do it as part of the duty. They just do it, or they are afraid of not doing it, scared of not doing it, and they do it. Some people don't do it. Even they are Muslim, they call themselves Muslim, they fail to do it. Some people may do it, but may not be doing it in full. If you are a person who have do it in full, Alhamdulillah, that means you are doing what have been asked for by the Creator. So it's a big gift to you. It's not a small gift, and you have to keep it up. In order to keep it up, then you have to preach yourself now and then. What I mean by preaching yourself now and then is that increase your knowledge on religion, read the Quran, think about the message in the Quran. So basically, this is what I am doing this morning, every morning if I can, is to preach myself so that I keep doing what is being asked of me by our Creator, to avoid being sent to hell, being punished, which we can avoid if we think over it. If you don't think about your Creator, that means you are not thinking of avoiding being sent to hell. Then you will be not one of the winners, so you become the losers in this world and the next world. Alhamdulillah, if you listen to this, you may get the benefit from it, as I feel I got the benefit from me doing this video and talking about our Creator. So why not, brothers and sisters, be prepared for the day of judgment. It has already been wise if you are prepared for the day of judgment. So what can make us not prepare for the day of judgment? Of course, there's been a warning also in the Quran. There are people who are greedy. They're only thinking about making themselves rich, and they forget. So that's one way of the person can forget is the greed of well living in this world. Is mentioned in the surah Al-Hakumut Takasur. Surah Al-Takasur mentioned that. There are also many surah that mention it. Also, when people doing the job and then they are being offered corruption money, that is also considered as greed or wanting to be rich by people offering corruption money, but that this can destroy the person. Because I remember of this one minister, I heard of this story that when a person want to give him money, corruption money, he said, Allah is looking. Of course, accepting corruption money is a sin, and he said Allah is looking. So he rejected the money offered to him in the form of corruption when he said Allah is seeing me. Of course, Allah is all seeing, all hearing, all knowing. So that belief saved him from doing bad thing like corruption or cheating people to get money. All this is harmful to the spiritual benefit. Being greed and then thinking of making or enriching herself or himself, then forgets or thinking it, oh, money is more important, so I don't have time. Money is important. So just like what happened in the country of China, they look at the Muslim building mosque, praying. They said they think they are not prospering. So they want to make the place prosper. They build 5-star hotels. They destroy the mosque and build 5-star hotels. And they see that is good for the development of the people. So that's what they think. But the Muslim in Uyghur is not thinking that way. So you see the punishment from Allah. Very quickly the rich country become poor. Okay, that is one example of the greed being punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a rich country no more. Okay, I've been saying this before. Keep saying it. Doesn't matter. We keep learning. We keep remembering this. So that will be a lesson to us. Recently, I think only this morning, I read a story of a judge. So this judge tell his story in the newspaper. published in the newspaper how he accept corruption. So when in each case he received money, so always in the court there are people who want to win the case that he's supposed to lose, and then give money to the judge, and the judge said he accepted the money, and not only the judge, there are also police. Amazing, surprised that they kind of complot, make a team to receive this money. So what happened at one time, this gang forget to tell the person who's supposed to give money how much money he will give. So, but they think he will give money, but not asking how much money. So in the end, they thought they will get money. Maybe they're dreaming of big money. And then when the case is over, they demand the money. The amount was not given, of course. No amount was agreed, and the case was over. So maybe the person just give, instead of big amount, the dream, he give a small amount. So then the people expected big amount, and they threatened him, because that is not the money amount that they expect. But the amount was not agreed earlier. So he's free to give how much he wants to give. So what happened was, they threatened him. I don't know how much threatening they do to him. Then this person reported to the police that they were threatened by these people for not giving enough money that they had expected. So the police caught these people who threatened him. In the end, it was also the judge, one of the team, one of the gang, and he was also caught. And then the judge was jailed for 3 years. On corruption charges. So this is what happened, you see. If you don't have this, what you call belief in Allah punishment in the day of judgment, then more tempted. This kind of people are more tempted to accept this corruption money. These cases is not alone. I also heard other things like this, that there are people who accept corruption money, and there are also people who don't accept corruption money. And when they don't accept corruption money, and these people come with more bag full of money, maybe one try is one bag full of money. He said no, and then maybe the next time he brought 2 bags of money, still no. So he didn't accept my money. So what happened was exposure. Who accept the money, who don't accept the money. So exposure, and then the list of name of people who accept the money were exposed, and then put to jail, and the person who had not accepted the bribe safe. Okay, maybe this is real happening, which I heard from people talking, not from book. The second one, the first one was from reading. So, brothers and sisters, I'm supposed to talk about what's happening in the world, in what country to talk on. Okay, maybe this morning I'd like to talk about, I choose a country, Japan. Okay, what do we know about Japan? Okay, Japan was at one time aggressive country, attack other country. They were successful initially. They took the opportunity because in the West at the time there was a war during Second World War, and the American was fighting with the German. The reason for the fighting was German won other lands to conquer. Like the British have their empire, other country, the French have its land in Africa. But the German was not active in conquering the land, so they don't have we call colonies. So I think there is famous Hitler saying that they want a share in the sun. So meaning that if they say they want a share in the sun, meaning they want colonies. Instead of fighting in Africa to get colonies, they fought the country that have colonies. I think initially, I don't know, Poland have colonies or not. So initially they invaded Poland. When they invaded Poland, then UK promised to defend Poland. So when I think the German was warned, if they invade Poland, then UK will go to war with them. So German invaded Poland, and then UK start to get in the war with Germany. And then very quickly German invade France, and then UK also, US also at the time helping the ally or become the ally to fight Germany. And that at the time, why Japan go to war? Because in the east is Indonesia was Netherlands colonies, Borneo British colony, also in many Philippines was also US. What happened was at that time Japanese were surprisingly more advanced technically than the rest of Asia. Surprising. Japanese very quickly to learn technology. They were able to make planes, fighting fighter planes, able to make big guns and ships, battleships. So they learn technology from the West very quickly, these Japanese, and they can do what the West can do very quickly, like fighter plane. They can make tank, they can make guns, they can make very quickly. That is surprise as well. While at the time China was quite backward, not being able to make the technology that the Japanese can make. So with that, they are able to be in par with the West. So this Japanese becoming confident. If the West fighting with guns, the Japanese also have guns. They also have rifles, things like that, cannon, things like that. So why they go to war? Because, and for that reason of technology development, they think the country can be prosperous if they have the industry. In order to develop their industry, they have to have the raw materials like the iron ore, oil, or what else? Iron ore, oils, material of construction. So what happened is that at that one time, Japan was looking for oil. So they look for a country that can provide them with oil. Because oil is the fuel to run the machinery. So they want oil at that time. But I remember they were not given raw material by the colonizer country. And they come back, they feel frustrated because all the lands with raw material being conquered by this Western power, which not who don't like Japan to be, maybe there is also jealousy. The Japanese can make this. So if they got the raw material, Japan will be rich, can produce material. So they feel, I believe, kind of jealousy and want to stop Japanese becoming industrialized country. So because the country is under the control of this colonizer, Netherlands, British, and maybe America. So they come back, become frustrated, and maybe for that reason they're thinking about why not ourselves get this colonies country for their development of their industry. So that kind of thinking is in their mind, meaning to get this colony, they have to fight the country that colonized this. And actually they did. They sent their army to the south, Indonesia, Borneo, with Philippines, Burma. I think they fight in Burma. Thailand was not fighting with them. What else they conquer? Yes. And also, so the war start. How the war in the East, Japanese war start. Or maybe at that time, US was not interested to fight with the Japanese. They had enough of fighting in the West already. But then what happened was the Japanese see that American will be their potential enemy, so they believe the American should be weakened. So what they did, they destroyed the base, American base in Hawaii. I think, yes, in Hawaii. So they attacked Hawaii, and the famous sentence at the time was, Japan is what they call making this giant awakening the giant. Of course, the giant is the US industries, and they were fighting. In the end, after that, US joined the war in the Western and the Eastern Front with fighting the Japanese. And in the end, Japanese lose the war, and US bomb actually two places. They bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and after dropping the bomb, the Japanese surrender. Okay, so that was happening history. So now look at the modern Japan. So after the war, Japanese people don't believe in the military government anymore. They say, and also US limit their military power Japan should not build nuclear bomb. They should not be a militarized country. So limit of their how many armies, how big their armies is being limited by an American, but then America promised to protect them in case attacker attack them, seeing that the Japanese military power is small. So Japan never had big army for many years. Then with that, not worrying about them being attacked by other country because US promised to protect them. So they focus in developing the industry and actually the industry develop, and the quality of Japanese good surprisingly good. So their cars, of course, remember that their cars when they come here, price was cheap. The price of a car made in UK 11,000, and remember then the car made in Japan 6,000. So it's like half the price. Of course, initially people were skeptical of Japanese cars, but then over the years it was proven that Japanese car is as good as the car made in UK. And then in the 70s, people were buying Japanese car, Toyota, Nissan, or that time we call it Datsun. Also some Nissan and also Datsun. What else? Japanese car, Toyota. Suzuki, Suzuki, not car. Suzuki is more on motorcycle. What else? I can't remember that car. I can't remember the name of the Japanese car. Okay, but again, not only car they produce, they also produce refrigerator, Toshiba. What else? The name of Toshiba, remember the old name of Japanese product. Yes, the electric gadget was also becoming popular. Sony, yes, remember that Sony was well known, one of the richest company in the world at one time. Sony, their product TV, Sony TV. What else? Camera, yes, Canon camera, very good Canon camera. I have one Canon camera still working. How many years already? It's very good camera. When I compare it with my telephone camera, that Canon camera is still better than the Canon camera. What else? their product is. So camera, they are good, like fan and like the brand National. Yes, National. Also, I remember buying battery National brand. It's good battery they produce. So they become rich country very quickly in Japan. I think at that time they were the second economy in the world. At one time they were second. They're still rich. Even now they're still rich. So now what happened Japan on military wise? On military wise, it's changing now. America also don't worry about Japan building the military, except they're not allowed to make nuclear weapon yet. Of course, if they want to make nuclear weapon, they can do it with the technology they have, with the people knowledge. I believe they can make nuclear weapon. Recently, even US asked Japan to modify their F-16. US offered them to improve the F-15 and F-16, but the Japanese say no, they will not improve F-15. They only want to improve F-16. So they had a meeting with the US, and these Japanese engineers asked for the equation in making F-16. So you see, to make F-16 you need equation. So the US is prepared to share them with the equation. So once they get the equation, they improve F-16. I noticed that, seen that the improvement they make the wing bigger than the original F-16, and the engine they make is smaller but more powerful than the original engine of F-16. With smaller engine, so they can maybe using a little less of strengthening the frame, maybe it's also lighter, and they make the modified F-16 using material that is lighter. So what they do with the F-16 of Japanese modification, the range improve. It can carry the fuel more. Even the drop fuel they can carry on the wing, bigger drop fuel. The bigger drop fuel tank, they call it, which they hang on the wing on both sides. So they have bigger range. Also, it is faster. Of course, with the big wing, it also can carry more weight, more missiles than the smaller wing, because the wing will create the lift. So the new F-16 has greater lift than the A-16 one. So the improved F-16 by Japan. I think no other country using it except the Japanese. Maybe they don't want to sell it to other countries yet. Or America say don't sell it to other country. So it's only Japanese army is using this modified F-16 or modified by Japan. Okay, so why do you need this military, bigger military? Of course, there is a leader in Japan saying that if they don't improve on their military, they may be easily conquered by China. So they were worried that China will attack them because China military, which is only not very far on the side of the sea, China is strengthening its military in view of taking Taiwan. But then US is protecting Taiwan, and also Japan will also be one. There's a war between China and Taiwan. Japan also would help. Of course, at one time China was threatening Japan with nuclear bomb, which was viral. But then it's not easy, because if China bomb Japan, then US also bomb China with nuclear bomb. So what happened was that Japan was sensitive with that remark. After that, they're thinking about moving out their companies in China, move back to Japan. So that is the story about Japan. So as for myself, I work with Japanese people before. When I was working as engineer, I have worked with Japanese engineer. He came to my office, and then I reviewed their drawing. He was spending with me in the office for hours, and so I have experienced close encounter with Japanese people. So I know how they work. They really are hardworking, dedicated to their job. I remember when I comment on their drawing, immediately my comment is relayed to the other person in Japan by telephone. So I call that very efficient way of working. The moment I commented, he called straight away to the drawing office in Japan. So I have to wait for him to talk to the person in Japan. When he complete, I make comment again. He talk over the comment to the people in Japan. So I was amazed at the way they work. Efficient way, very quick action. So they don't waste time. Very quickly, I get their what they call drawing. Yes, I was an engineer, so I look at drawings a lot. So very quickly I get their drawing done. That amazed me that they are very efficient in their way of work. Like maybe instead of using paper, they use telephone. Straight away they call. Okay, that is my counter with Japanese, working with Japanese engineer. What else about Japan? I think I have no more to talk on the country. Now let me read the Koran. Okay, so we should be reading page 143 this morning. So to get the barakah of this morning, I will read the first sentence in Arabic. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَمَا لَكُمْ أَلَّا تَأْكُلُوا مِمَّا ذَكِرَ اسْمُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ وَقَدْ فَصَّلَ لَكُمْ مَا حَرَّمَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِلَّا مَا اضْطُرِرْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا لَيُضِلُّونَ بِأَهْوَائِهِمْ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ هُوَ أَعْلَمُ بِالْمُهْتَدِينَ صَدَقَ اللَّهُ الْعَظِيمُ. Let's see the meaning of these sentences in the Quran. And why you don't eat the food from the animal that have been slaughtered, which at the time when it was slaughtered, the name of Allah was mentioned, whilst Allah had clarified that to you that what had been forbidden for you. Except when you are forced to. Verily, many people being led astray the people that have been led astray because following his desire without knowledge. Your Lord knows the people who act in extreme and leap out the sin that is clear and the sin that is not clear. Verily, people who want to commit sin later will be getting the return fit with what they've been doing. And don't you eat animal that have been slaughtered at the time name of Allah was not mentioned. Doing that is something which is a sin. Verily, Satan would like to whisper you that you follow them, and if you had followed them, verily then you will be like the non-believers. Then have the people have died before that we make them to live, then we give them light and make them walk among the people. Same with the people who are in darkness, that have not been able to get out from there. Then the unbelievers feel great for what they have been doing, or they feel comfortable what they have been doing, meaning that they are being deceived. And that is every country we make their leaders of bad people, so that they make deceive in that country, but then they are only cheating themselves without they knowing. this cheating. I've seen that cheating, like in election, there is this manifesto, they call it, the promise, the party promise this and that just to win votes. In the end, they become the government. That promise will not fulfill, and the people feel they're being cheated. They're being cheated by these bad leaders. I've seen that. And when come to you a revelation from them, they say, if come revelation to them, they say, we will not believe. Until we are given like what is given to Allah Messenger. Allah knows better what duty He sent to His Messenger. The people who commit sin would be dishonor. In the light of Allah, and will be given punishment that is severe because of the deception they have been doing. Okay, I've seen all what is mentioned here. I've observed it, I've seen it. So, very interesting reading that it mentioned in the Quran what is actually going on in this world. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Let's now read the Gospel of Barnabas. Okay, on Gospel of Barnabas, we should be reading chapter 142. Let's see how long is this chapter. Okay, let's see whether I can complete reading it, about 2-page reading. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Judas, the traitor who saw that Jesus was fled, lost the hope of becoming powerful in the world, for he carried Jesus' purse, wherein was kept all that was given him. For love of God, he hoped that Jesus would become king of Israel, but so he himself would be powerful man. Therefore, having lost his hope, he said within himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know that I steal his money, and he would lose patience and cast me out of his service, knowing that I believe not in him. If he were a wise man, he would not flee from the honor that God will him. Wherefore it will be better that I'll make arrangement with the chief priests, with the scribes and Pharisees, and see how to give up into their hands. So for so shall I be able to obtain something good. Wherefore, having made this resolution, he gave notice to the scribes and Pharisees how the matter had passed in Nain. And they took counsel with the high priest, saying, What shall do if this man become a king? Of surety we shall fare badly, because he is vain to reform the worship of God after the ancient custom. For he cannot away with our tradition. Now how shall be fair under the sovereignty of such a man? Surely we shall all perish with our children for being cast out of office, and we shall have to beg our bread. So this chapter is that Judas become a traitor because he don't believe. He had been loyal to Jesus because he thought Jesus would be a king of Israel. But when he noticed that he will not be a king, then he became a traitor. So Judas is only after the money and honor in this world. So because of that, he is being dishonored in this world. I think I just read that. Maybe I'll continue again reading on this chapter. That is a good, amazing paragraph about Judas. Why he became traitor? Because he stole. Amazing, he stole Jesus' money. Then he think that he's a prophet. Jesus would know he stole his money. When he think that Jesus didn't know, then he kind of don't believe anymore that Jesus is prophet of God. So that is the way of his thinking. So he's not sincere, and we need a lot of sincerity in religion. So a person who not sincere will easily be deviated away from the truth. Okay, with that, I think I've been talking a lot. Thank you very much for listening.